Now I've got various kinds of neck holders. This one goes into a vise, and you probably will need some kind of wedge. A lot of these neck holders are made to fit the classical neck angle, which is less. This is 15 degrees, and my classicals are 11 or 12 degrees, so I need to put this wedge in. I can put a clamp here. And some of these, you don't all have vices at your bench, so you can mount this to the bench, put a clamp there and clamp there, and you can turn it any which way. You can mount it like this, you can mount it like that, depending which part of the neck you're working on. So I can start carving this. I've got my marks that show me my limits. And I generally start out by whacking the heel a bit. Now what Corin and what Johan is going to do and what Corin did, and I actually forgot about this, so I didn't demonstrate it. They've already sort of got a rough outline of their heel on there. They did that with a router. And that gives them a good start, you know, you can just start whacking right there with a chisel. But I didn't do that. So I'll start whacking this with a chisel. If you want, you can draw a picture. Draw a rough shape, but I don't usually. I just start whacking away and hope for the best. Right. It's kind of fun work.
It's a little bit scary.
Not really.
Not something I'm going to do, I don't.
Just take off little bits at a time.
Yeah.
Don't do it the way my dad does it, and it's a lot less scary. You can still whack it just gently.
Whack it gently, okay, that's nice. I like
whack
that.
it gently, it takes longer.
That's true, but it's also less likely for your whole heel to pop off.
Yeah.
We had a guy.
Sometimes it's actually quicker because you don't have to glue a new heel.
We had a guy who took a heel right off.
Really?
I've taken
this guy Nelson, he was here with his daughter, and his daughter was doing they're both doing large classicals, but his daughter was doing a different scale length, but she was sick, so he cut hers at the same as his, and then when carving the neck, whack.
Oh man.
Because it was so thin.
She was not pleased.
No, really.
But it ended up
I thought it would
out.
be so much fun.
They glued it back on and it was just a wider heel.
Everything that, anytime he would touch her guitar, he'd mess something up. After a while, she got so scared that her dad would touch her guitar.
He wasn't allowed
anymore. As soon as he got near her guitar, well, Dad, I'll do it. Oh, because she did really nice work.
He was a really funny guy.
It's really true. Anyway, I'll do a little bit more carving with this chisel.
I've whacked the top.
A little from column A, a little from
I
column
reckon
B.
there's a limit to what you can take off to the...
Yeah, once you get past...
Like 10 millimeters or something like that?
But still, it's not bad to avoid that.
What I'm going to aim to do is to take away all the wood that doesn't look like a guitar neck.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, but
that was almost the best one so far, I think.
Yeah, well, enough of like here I got a little bit carried away, but I actually like the heels to go in quite a bit because you kind of go up into the high notes that way. This looks pretty rough now, but it won't take me long to
It's beautiful.
get this all.
The other thing when you're whacking you gotta watch out for is that it doesn't whack a whole swath off the main body of your neck when you're whacking like where my
that
dad
can
is.
happen.
Yeah.
So now that's pretty much ready for some rasping. I can take a draw knife and take a little bit off the neck. Now this is an optional step. There's no big advantage to this. This is just for fun. And the only reason I do it is
like a good
because
time.
it doesn't really save much time. But I have these nice draw knives.
Don't lean on the...
Stop. Wait, don't move.
What's going on?
yeah, the chisel is gonna come down.
Oh, good.
it'll fall in his neck.
Yeah.
Put them, take them away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it-
kind of
That'd
dangerous.
have been bad.
Well,
Just
just
take-
don't lean
take
on the
them away.
wall.
Well, just don't lean on the wall.
Okay, so
You live and you learn.
if you're going to do this, you got to do it kind of carefully, and don't try to take too much. It doesn't save much time. Like I said, it's just for fun.
Look at the size of that finger and the size.
Yeah.
Like we should have a log.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
seriously.
like a chainsaw cutting the veneer, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have
Well, I
these
like to use
things,
as few tools as I can.
so I use them a little bit, but I don't. That's already enough.
But it's fun to use it.
It saves a little bit of time, but
Yeah.
it's mostly just for
Just
fun.
okay.
It doesn't save much time. And
Looks like a party.
it'll tell you which way to go. This neck is pretty good, and I could almost go both ways. But some necks you can't. It'll tear if you go the wrong way. Oop, that's
Oh, that's.
tearing a little bit. Yeah, that's. Anyway, like I said, this is just for fun. I'm not going to do much more.
But we can do all of that with a rasp as well, can't we?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't save you much time to do that with this. So I'm going to start rasping. Maybe I'll just do a little bit more with
But
the
the back
chisel.
of the neck has already been leveled to
No.
where it should be or not?
No, not at all. I've just established 2 points
Okay.
where I want the thickness
Two
to be
areas
like
of
that.
level, right?
I'm a little bit worried. I got a little bit carried away with the chisel right there. But no, it's okay. Just barely. But be careful. Don't do this much with the chisel. So now I can rasp. And there are two of these.
Do as I
it can
say, not
do-
as I do.
Two kinds of these rasps. There's 49 and
The
50.
50.
The 49's a little bit coarser, but not that much coarser. It's still it's pretty fine. So I'll start rasping at this.
Did you do the center one or the heel?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I demoed that. Now, if you haven't routed, this goes pretty quick. We'll just blend this with the end of the finger work like this. The routing doesn't save that much time either.
Hey, that's really coming along quick.
I tend to go back and forth. When I get bored with the heel, then I go to the neck. Yeah, I'm just barely going to make it here. If the worst comes to the worst, I'll glue a little piece of wood in there. I shouldn't
Yeah,
have
well, it
done-
must still be there
shouldn't have done-
somewhere.
Yeah, I know. It will be there. I'll just.
You never touch the fingerboard, right?
Try not to.
Okay.
No.
You never touch the fingerboard with rasp.
A little bit. No, not really with the rasp. No, with sandpaper later.
It's a good idea for you guys to put tape. Well, just past the like the tongue.
On the left side of it?
On both sides, it's easy to slip when you're doing the heel.
You mean that part
Yeah.
on the side?
Yeah, just for this rasping part. Need it,
The
but
pro.
sure.
Yeah, if you hit it with a rasp like that, you're bound to have big stretches.
I just want to get a bit further, then I can show you a couple of tricks. That speeds things up.
Yeah, it looks
What's that?
good.
It already takes a fair bit of a resemblance to the turn neck.
I thought about just getting the band.
No, there's a few things I wanted to show you. Now I want to get nice graceful lines on my heel here. Okay, I don't need that piece of wood. I think I got away with this. See, I like this to swoop in a bit because when you're going up into the high notes,
Yeah.
that's more comfortable. some people make those heel edges straight, and that's fine too, but I don't. So now I've roughed out the edges of this heel, and there's a nice little tool at each bench that helps you just kind of get a nice graceful contour here. And I'll show you that. Okay, I'll just take the one from your bench, Ben. Most of the benches have got a block that looks something like this. So now I can take some heavy grit paper. Whoops, here's some that was already torn. And there's two sides. There's one side that's more curved, and one side that's less curved. I can put this 80 grit paper on here. Now this looks really rough, right? But with a little bit of sanding with this block, suddenly I've got already a nice graceful line there. It takes just about no time at all. And you can change the shape of the line by angling this or by using the other side. You can also, with the round side, go in here, but I would rasp it a bit more first. In fact, this whole heel wasn't quite rasped enough for this part of the demo, but I'll do a bit more anyway with this block. And we'll demonstrate a little bit more of heel carving. But anyway, you see how quickly this block just kind of cleans up those lines and gives you a nice graceful shape there. You see this? That's all one nice flowing graceful line now.
We can also use this piece of wood to drawing the line.
Yeah, you can before you start whacking with the chisel. I guess so. Yeah, put it on there. Some that doesn't quite work. But okay, so now I'm going to carve this volute here.
What's the pencil sharpener behind you?
Yep.
Follow.
Let me move this forward a little bit. So this, again, I do this with a rasp, and what I want to be careful is not to attack the thickness of my neck here, not to attack that mark. I just want to go around with the rasp, and I'm pushing this way, not this way. I'm still using the 49, the coarser one. It's a fun job carving a neck, and it doesn't take all that long. I think the very first time I did it, it took me about 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. And that's the first time. But I never did get fast at it, ever.
It took me 3 days. The first.
I was, after I'd been making guitars by myself for a couple of years already, I was sitting having a coffee with Larva close to my shop, and I was telling him it takes me about 40 minutes to carve a neck, and that's about what it took me at that time. It takes me longer now, by the way. I used to be fast. But anyway, so Larva, he said 40 minutes. He said, Serge, you're doing something wrong. You gotta work out what you're doing wrong. Nobody needs to take 40 minutes to carve a neck. Because he used to do it in a show. When I was with him already, he'd be carving, he'd be looking at the clock. Doing 20 minutes that time, you know. But and then a couple of guitars later, 15 minutes. Then he got it down. By the time he was in North Vancouver with a crew of about 11 people making 20 guitars a week, his schedule on the Wednesday of each week, they'd have the 20 guitars, they'd glue the fingerboards on in the morning, adjust the necks, glue the fingerboards on. And then late afternoon, the last thing that his crew did before they went home was glue all the heel caps, like we did. So they would be done. Then then Larva would go home for supper. And after supper, he would come into the shop by himself and carve all 20 necks.
Jesus.
Wednesday evening. So they'd be ready for his crew to do the final sanding in the morning. By himself.
Huh.
He'd go into the shop, carve the 20 necks, go home, and it would take him about an hour and a half to carve 20 necks.
1 hour and a half?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Skills McGee.
With 2 hands, maybe.
Well,
Yeah, doing 3 at a time, like.
he cheated. He had a stroke sander, and he would carve it on the stroke sander. However, that takes more keen hand-to-eye coordination than doing it with a rasp like this. But he would get them bang on, and in the morning all his crew had to do was do the fine sanding
What
on
was
them.
the stroke sander?
It's like a belt sander, except it's horizontal.
Ah, okay.
It's the same as that belt sander, just horizontal, and it's longer. Not that that makes a difference for the neck, but the belts don't go dull as fast. Anyway, you can draw a picture here if you want with a white pencil, but I don't usually. However,
vertical?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah. However, what I do recommend, and I'll do this, I'll set a good example, is to get a pencil line on here, because that does help you. A center line.
With
I mean.
pencils over here.
Did I say pencil line? I mean center line. What's over there? Yeah, I need it. Later. So I'm going to get a center line because that will help me to keep the
Yeah.
tip of the volute on center. So just have to see this. Okay. Yeah, that's a good help to have just a bit of a center line. So now I've got that, I'll just finish carving this volute. Carving the volute is straightforward, just you don't want to go into the main body of the neck. But again, I use a Nicholson 49 for this, and then I finish it up with a Nicholson 50, which is a little bit finer. And I already mentioned, I want the edge of the head veneer, I don't want this peak of the volute to be much further inboard than the edge of the head veneer. I used to make them just about in the center of the nut slot, so a bit forward, but I would get complaints from people that it was imposing on their thumb. Now, some people would like it there, and it acts as a stop for the thumb, but a lot of people wouldn't, so better to keep it back a little bit. It's still going to strengthen this area because it's swooping down there. It's still making it thicker there than if you didn't have it. I've actually had to recarve some necks in this area because my volute was too far forward. It's called a volute apparently. I didn't know that either.
A volute?
For years.
Yeah, volute.
But I learned that from my students. Almost every guitar making term that I know, I learned from my students taking my course. Because I didn't know terms of guitar making, and neither did Larry, who I learned from. We just had our own names for everything.
So what was that called before?
This, I just called this the bump at the head. Or the swoop or something, whatever. I didn't know it was called a volute. So that's starting to look something like I'm going to want it. I could switch to the Nicholson 50 now, and I want to kind of blend this in here. So now, about the last thing I'm going to show you right now is just how to blend those two, how to connect those 2 points. This is just ready kind of for fine work with a Nicholson 50. Fine work with this guy. Yeah. Well, that's all. I use the 2 rasps and then sandpaper. However, there are these lovely little rasps here that most people find are a good friend for that job, but I'm not used to them, so I don't generally use them. Where's one?